Good morning, everyone. Jennifer Lee Chan here. It is Friday morning, and Adam Schefter has just reported that Jordan Mason has suffered an AC joint sprain in his shoulder. So he was in the game and came out with a shoulder injury, went back in, and then came back out kind of quickly. So AC joint sprain in his shoulder just depends on the recovery time. They don't think it's serious, according to Adam Schefter, but this is what a grade one would be. Grade one would be heals within 10 to 14 days, just kind of inflammatory medication, some PT, kind of rest. Grade two sprain, if that means there's a partial tear of the ligaments, the recovery can be 6 weeks. So they're going to do further testing, I'm sure, and that will be determine how long he'll be out. The 49ers are really thin now at running back. It is Isaac Guerendo and Patrick Taylor, who are obviously very capable. They did a great job in the game. Isaac Guerendo, 10 carries for 99 yards, 9.9 yards per carry. Of course, he had that really long 76-yard run. But JP Mason, 9 carries for 73 yards. So he did a really exceptional job, really got those tough, hard runs. Patrick Taylor, and maybe the team leans more on Deebo Samuel as a running back. Don't necessarily like to see that much because he does get banged up a little bit. Patrick Taylor, 5 carries for 16 yards. That's a 3.2 yard per carry average. So not great news for the 49ers running backs. They may be looking to pick up somebody as a free agent coming up. It's just, this time of the year, tough to have this many injuries. So good thing is that the 49ers do have 10 days. They've got a little mini bye before the Kansas City Chiefs come to town. And of course, the Chiefs are on their bye because, of course, the 49ers wouldn't have a game with a little bit of rest where they have an advantage against the opponent. That doesn't happen very often, thanks to the NFL schedulers. Anyways, 49ers obviously coming off a huge win in Seattle, 36-24 over the Seattle Seahawks. And it's really interesting to go into the locker room, the visitors' locker room in Seattle, where the 49ers are really happy because for so many years, year after year after year, they would go to Seattle and be just devastated by a loss. So many different years. They would maybe win a few at home, but in Seattle was just a place they could not win. But Brock Purdy now undefeated in Seattle at Lumen Field. So great game last night, but there were very similar feelings in the third quarter that they would again let the lead slip away. They had a 20-point lead at the beginning of the third quarter. Brock Purdy marched the guys down the field, toe tapping catch by George Kittle, and 23-3. And then everything just went crazy right after that. Seahawks had a 97 kickoff return for a touchdown. 49ers couldn't convert the next drive. And then the Seattle Seahawks again marched down the field like the 49ers had done before and put a touchdown on. And then it was a one-score game, 6 points. And I asked Fred Warner in the press conference last night, I'm like, did it feel similar? And he's like, he kind of laughed. He's like, yes, 1,000%. It felt very similar to what they had gone through before. And that's what everybody in the locker room said. I even asked Nick Bosa and I was like, did it feel similar to what you guys have been going through in the past? He's like, yeah, it was a little nuts. Nick Bosa, outstanding performance, 14 pressures. And the only player to do that in the last 4 years, 14 pressures in one game, it hasn't happened in the last 4 years, except for Nick Bosa back in 2022. So I walked up to him in the locker room, kind of showed him the tweet, and I said, it was Next Gen Stats that said he had 14 pressures. And the fact that he was, the one person to do it. And he looked at me and goes, yeah, but no sacks. So he's like, it's a game of finishing, and he knows he needs to get to the quarterback. But I think it's just really tough for him on this defensive line where they're decimated. Javon Hargrave out, Jordan Elliott was out, Yetur Gross-Matos out on IR. So it's been really tough for this 49ers defensive line to get to the quarterback. Now, they did a good job containing Geno Smith and putting pressure on him, but they just don't have the sack numbers that they've had in the past. Now, I think they did a really good job. Another part of the defense that stepped up was the secondary. Deommodore Lenoir is having an amazing year, but the young guys, Renardo Green, Malik Mustafa, who was in the game until he rolled his ankle, they did a really good job. These rookies, this class has been doing an amazing job. It's rare that in week 6 that you have a team that has so many rookies really contributing and contributing in a really good way on the field. Look, Renardo Green interception, Malik Mustafa interception as well. Malik Mustafa said, "Yeah, next time I've got to turn around and run upfield instead of running right out of bounds." Fred Warner was definitely giving him some trouble for that, giving him a hard time because he did just run out of bounds. So Renardo Green, great interception to really kind of seal the game for the 49ers. And then great performances by George Kittle, of course, Kyle Juszczyk, who how many times did they jump into the suite that had both Claire Kittle and Kristen Juszczyk. Just a fun game to watch about at that point. But I mean, Matt and I looked at each other in the press box in the third quarter when the lead was only 6 points, and we're like, it is happening again. But that was felt throughout the locker room, but lots of talk between a lot of players saying this is not going to happen again. They're going to take control of the game. And that's really what they did. So they didn't let the lead slip away. They scored again. Seattle scored again. And then the ceiling touch, the finishing touch was Kyle Juszczyk's 6-yard run in for a touchdown. Also waiting to hear about Matthew Wright, the 49ers kicker, tried to make a tackle and got rolled up on. So hopefully the 49ers didn't lose 2 kickers within 2 weeks. That would be really bad. On Malik Mustafa's ankle injury, low ankle sprain. I spoke to him after the game. He was actually watching the game from the tunnel, the end of the tunnel. You know, the guy who's got all the signs, who yells at all the players. He was there giving Jed York a hard time. I've got to post that video. Yelling at Jed York that he's like, "You never come down here. This is the only time you come down here is when you win," which is true. I mean, he's not going to go down there into a hostile environment standing in front of a bunch of fans. So he was waiting at the end of the tunnel, Jed York was, but the guy was just yelling and yelling and yelling. And so Malik Mustafa came over and put his arm around Jed and got the fans in the area all riled up to cheer for the 49ers. So kind of a fun environment. Lumen Field, Seattle Seahawks Stadium is always so much fun because it's loud and it's obnoxious, but there are a lot of 49ers fans. Vivid Seats said it was going to be 67% 49ers fans. I don't think it was that much, but there was a lot of red in the stands. So if you did come to the game, and I did see you, thanks for saying hi. And the 49ers have a little bit of time off. Everybody gets to watch the games over the weekend and with a little bit of peace. And Nick Bosa said it was kind of a blessing in disguise to play a game so quickly and to be able to get that feeling of a loss, out of their system. So got a big opponent ahead. Kansas City Chiefs are coming in about 10 days. So it's going to be a tough one for the 49ers. And I don't think it's a revenge game. I think it's just another game, but there's definitely a little extra for the 49ers when they face the Kansas City Chiefs anytime. All right, so I'll come back with you guys for more updates as I get them. Kyle Shanahan speaks to the media at 12:30. That's during my flight back home, so I won't be doing a video right then, but after we talk to Kyle Shanahan, I'll be doing another one. All right, thanks for tuning in, and check out stories on NBC Sports Bay Area. I wrote a story about how they had that familiar feeling, but we're not going to go down that path again. All right, talk to you soon, everybody.